So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live chat that I haven't managed to break yet, and also recorded for it's Ustream.tv and recorded for YouTube for people to watch at leisure. And I'm going to do this particular section on my little book of watercolours. I love my little book. Rather greedy, got quite a lot of things in here, but I love my book, and so I'm making, because I have some wonderful followers, I'm making another book step by step, so you can get all your own things into the book without going out and buying anything, and maybe spend a couple of pounds. But I'm hoping to show that you can make it out of anything that you can put a photograph in, because it's the photographic plastic sleeve that protects the colours. Everything has to be water-based, and it's a dry way of working. It's not very wet, although you can use every palette at the other side. You can use, but you need to remember to clean it and dry it before you shut your page. Whereas this book is designed just for throwing about. And whoops, avalanche. Sorry, and it's designed to do that, and I'd forgotten to do this. So I want to show how to make the book so that people aren't going out thinking, oh, I love it and I've got to go out and spend hundreds of pounds. Everybody will have some kind of watercolour. Now, I love this particular Derwent one because it was Derwent's original idea, or it was designed by a gentleman who was using the Derwent products. So it is a Derwent idea, and I want to give it back to them because I would think it's such a long time ago. People have probably forgotten. So bear with me two. Oops, I've just broken that. That wasn't clever, was it? I bought a little. They have these at the Abbey for Christmas, but they're a gorgeous colour, and because I keep forgetting to put my jewellery on, and I get out, and it makes you feel a little bit better if you've got a bit of jewellery on. So I kind of keep that in my handbag so that because I have a memory like a sieve, so I don't forget them and I can see them. Right, I feel a bit better now. Got the bling on. Not quite sure what that was. Definitely not sure. Oh dear, sorry, it's a BT man, a open reach gentleman. Sorry, bark alert, bark alert. Another swig of cold tea. So what I was going to do is, this is my little book, which has got almost 600 colours in it. And if you look at the colour swatches on this new one that I'm making, there's 10 shades in each colour swatch, which makes 6,000. Excuse me. Now, I know everybody's saying, oh, you don't need that many colours, but the beauty of it is, if you are doing something like this, you can touch a colour on here and colour, touch another colour and colour. So it makes it extremely easy. There's no colour mixing. You're just picking, I like that pink, I want to do that pink for the pink eye. Oh, I now need a green. I need a green. Oh, I like that green. You touch that green and you do the green next to the pink. And this is a little bit like, I think it's a bit like a candy store. And sometimes I flick and I want a colour and I see another colour and I think, no, I'm going to put that there. And this is why I love this little book. I mix every colours up together apart from the graphitint. The graphitint, because they're beautifully Derwent graphitints and they are labelled, are beautifully muted. And I do use these a lot, so you can see where I'm touching. Where it's shiny, it's pencil, and where it's not, it's what I've used. And you scribble over the top. And they do hold up quite well, these pages. not watercolour paper, it's sketchbook paper. Quite good quality sketchbook paper, but not expensive. I think it's 99p for the A5 size. It's normally the Sea Life. It's the Sea Life one. But again, that's it. But I mix the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s with some pastels, professional pastels I put on wet. It was only a practice. I don't use them, but I will do. But they're in there. It was just a test to see just what I could actually get in here. The 72 Ink 10s pencils from Derwent, the 72 watercolour pencils, the 45 Peerless, I think, in the whole select collection. And there's quite a few other things in there as well. Prismalo, there's some Dr. Martens PH watercolours, the Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolours. So impressed I've got those in there. Absolutely love these greens. As you can see, this is how I use it. And any watercolour that's based you can get in here, including the half pans. I've cut a couple of millimetres off the bottom of the half pan of colour, put the colour back into its pan so it looks perfect, and stuck it in there with some glue. And this is tubed watercolour. And when I get my act together, I will be putting a blob of professional watercolours into there as well. And even if you just had this, there's no colour you can't make. And across there is a plastic palette. It's actually from my Filofax. It's a just a piece of plastic I cut from packaging, and that gives me a lovely palette. But you just have to wipe that one. All the others you don't, but this one you have to wipe and clean and dry before you shut it. If you dry that side and they're wet and you shut it, it's fine, because all that will happen is what's happened to these Peerless here. You get the exact replica on the other side, and you can use these first, but if you mix the colours here, you have to wipe that away. So I'm going to do a big menagerie colour thing here next, so that I can wipe that away, and then they're perfectly. There are some big drops on there. On my original one I put 1 drop. I think there's about 4 drops on there. But you end up with this, and it looks horrid, but there is tons of colour in there. And again, tight Yorkshire lass cannot wipe those away. And there's no reason to. If I want the green, I touch the green. It's fine, it's working, it's colour, it's in there. Winsor Newton gouache, that's in there. Now they did crack onto here, so I might do it on the plastic. But they're in there. If I want a gouache red to be flat, I've got this. And for mandalas and things like that and patterns where you want a really flat colour, these are quite nice. And you can still use this out and about. And yes, I've shut it when it was wet. So that colour is here, and as long as I don't spread that out, I can work in here, and I can shut it wet, and all it's going to do is touch that, which is fine. It's only when the colours move that if that red was here, it would contaminate that. So you've got a paper palette, a plastic palette on every single page, which is pretty good. And I say I did break the spine a little bit on that one. So again, that's why I love my little book. And you work very dry with a tablespoon of water, almost sometimes a teaspoon of water, and 3 brushes. I normally work with 3 brushes, 3 riggers. So you have a damp brush and a tiny amount of colour on the end. And your water is normally clear when you've finished, so you're not wasting any colour. Oh, welcome back, Dorothy. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Just waffling about my little book of colours. So this is a live stream with live people, and I haven't broke chat yet. Way! I don't touch anything, so I don't break it. So I wanted to go through, although this is a paper chase and it's perfect, it's absolutely perfect, and a hairband or a rubber band just on the top to keep that shut is perfect. But I mean, they're only £1.50, But the idea is you use what you've got. So the first one I used was a real cheapie, and I made it like this. I cut the little, I haven't got a little one, it's one of these, it's a Polyview. I haven't got a little one left, but I got them from the pound shop, and they're called Polyviews. Now this one is an A5, you see, in the UK, which is, I think we said it was 8 3/4 by 6.5. And this is perfect for your Hobonichi. I have a fake Hobonichi, and you can get quite a lot of colours in here. And then that will just slide in the back, and of course it's a couple of millimetres, a millimetre, 2 millimetres. And because it's double this size, you can get the same amount in. But basically, I got the small A4 and I pulled it out. I pulled it out of the back. I destroyed it. And that left me with some pockets, and they kind of melted together. So I pulled them out, and then I cut each one, each pocket that you can get a photograph in. I cut up and across, and then that gave me two, instead of one, it gave me 2 pages, because I'm just a greedy girl. The only thing I will say is it's extremely ugly, if you can tell. It's very difficult to cut neat, so it was very ugly from the start. So that's obviously the pocket, extremely ugly. But that gave me, and then with sellotape and double-sided tape, and that looks like sellotape. Sellotape sticks very well to plastic. I put the pages in. So this is photocopied paper, and basically, and that's the 2 poly pockets stuck together. Oh, you can see it there, look. There. So I ended up with 3 of these, and it ended up looking, says she, and I thought I'd revamp it, but because the peerless were already in here, this is why this is a little bit rougher. This is the peerless bit here. So I've got all these pages, all those pages is a poly pocket of a Polyview, and I've stuck it to the back of the paper chase one, and this one's the same. All those pages here, well, there's 2, but there's 6 of these plastic things in between. They're all stuck again to that page, and this one as well. These 2 pages are pushed into there. So that's given me, in 2 poly pockets, it's given me all those colours. And then I started to kind of, I've got 2 in that one as well. So I've got 2 in that one, and I've got, so half the book is the original little prototype that I made. And then the other ones, because these were new things I was putting in the book, they're all just in a sleeve. Oh, says, tell a lie. The Caran d'Ache New Colour 2s are in there. They're in the next page. And then I've popped the Prismalo and the Faber-Castell crayons, put those into that one at that side. So you can get one at that side. And because I've got the plastic on this side, I can use it again. So that's how it's worked. And I must have stuck this in the back pocket to give it another little bit of extra, because I can't waste this colour. But if you put a piece of card underneath, you can see your colours a lot better. So that's why I've done this one. This is the new one. So there is a sleeve, and there is the colour here, and because it does smudge a little bit and it's wet, it's gone to this side. But as long as you make sure that these colours don't move too much, they'll always touch its original colour on the other side, and you won't end up with mud. The next page I've put, I think I've stuck this one in with sellotape between the two Polly Pockets, and I've put the Peerless in here. And again, I've been very good. I've labelled it, and I've also done a swatch colour, so that I know that, especially with the Peerless, because they look so different. But I have a colour swatch here of how many, if I touch the corner, I get a deep, and if I use the paintbrush damper, I get a light colour. So each one you should get at least 10 shades, from the deepest red to the palest, and the blues. And these Peerless are amazing. The colours are fab. And again, I've put those into there, so we've got the colour swatches for that. So this is actually a photograph paper for the printer. So you would put this in your printer and print your photographs out. Sorry, mouth is not in gear this morning. So because I've turned that over, I use the Sea White Sketch for the pencils. Now I could, if this was here, I could just stick this here, and I would have my colours on this side and my colours on that side, and with double-sided sticky tape, and that's probably the easiest way. So just quickly going back to how we could do that. So you need the plastic photograph book. Anything that's got the plastic is going to protect the colours, and you've got a palette if you need it. But you can use any size. You can use an A4 size, full scap, is that called? Again, so many pages you've got. If you cut this down here, you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You've got 10 pages. So that's the 20 of those of colours to put your Peerless in, or to put whatever you want in. And the bigger the squares, the longer it's going to last you. I don't work very wet, and because I have so many colours, I flick all the time. So I don't use one colour all the time. So that's why the little book works for me. But that would be fab in the back of your Hobonichi. And working dry on your Hobonichi, you would have all those gorgeous colours. Oh, I think that's my Hobonichi just in front of me. I may knock the camera, so just give me 2 seconds. This is my fake Hobonichi, and I made a cover for it. If I just lift that up slightly, and I put some dangles on it, and it's got enough room for a paintbrush and an ink pen. And this is the colours. You can play with the colours. So even when I was really poorly, I was making my just drawing doodles. And I have a template which I normally keep in the back, and I watched a lady, I can never remember names, it wasn't A Pocket Full of Inches. There's a lady that makes this cover, but if you type in oh goodness gracious, I have to find a name, because she made this wonderful 3 videos of how to make this cover, and it's for any size, any size, and you've got a big pocket at the back, and you've got little pockets, and I just love doodling. And I made the books myself because I was quite into stitching at the time. So I've got nearly 600 pages here because I love the Hobonichi paper, but this is layout paper, and that's why this lent itself to Bible journaling and watercolouring on a napkin, because it doesn't bleed through. The ones that bleed through, the Derwent pencils don't bleed through. The Ink Tense and the Peerless, they show through. But if you, again, I mix and match, you can't see through that. And this is gorgeous layout paper. Layout paper is the nearest I could get to the Japanese gorgeous thin paper. but I couldn't afford it, so I bought one, and I made them alternate, squares to plain. And I just love playing in this, and I love the paper. This is my doodle, this is my floral design. And I love, again, I couldn't do the Hobonichi. I can't do dates and writing and things. I don't know why, probably because I'm dyslexic. It just blows my face. It just can't do it. Just absolutely drives me insane. But I can doodle. I can doodle. I did 1 page. I think I did 2 pages. That's it. I cannot do that. But doodle and colour, love doing that. And this is what all lent itself to this little book. And all I had was a water brush. But love playing. And this paper is, I say, just gorgeous. And these are quite pale. But of course, you can draw on the other side because you can see through it. So you have 2 of the same design, but different colours. And again, I quite like that. And I'm just going to very, very quickly have a look at my phone and see if I can find this lady, because I have to mention her, and I'm terrible for remembering things. So bear with me 2 seconds. I'll just have a very quick look. But it's very funny how things evolve from one thing to another. So if I just look at this. And turn the volume down in case it comes on. It's a book cover. And she used to say that she made the book covers because she didn't want people to know she was reading horror stories on the train, and I thought that was wonderful. And if you bear with me 2 seconds, I will... I have to look for this because it's very important that I mention it, because I love the book cover. And I always think it's important to give credit where credit is due. As they say, this is not my idea. I'd like to think it's a pocket full of vintage, but I can't remember. Isn't it funny? You can find things straight away when you want, and when you can't find them, you can't find them. And the other lady that I learned how to do the book is called Sea Lemon. That was the lady who does all the Copic stitches and makes the books. Not quite sure I could make one now. If I just press that one, it might come up. No, it's not going to do that. It's a fabric one. So again, I used old skirt material, which I loved. I'd probably be better looking through the names rather than looking at the photographs. So Sea Lemon, Sealemon, is the young lady that makes the books, and it shows you how to do the different stitches. And the lady that I cannot believe I cannot find this lady. Yes, it does today. Yes, and the chat works as well. The chat works as well, which is even better. I don't touch it because I'll break it, but I thought it was me, and I'm desperately trying to find this lady because her videos were fab. I think it was 3 or 4 videos of how to make this. I'm sure it's a pocket full of vintage, but my brain is not in gear. How annoying. Yes, it is. My goodness, it is. Let me just have 2. I've got a thingy now. Yes, it's a lady called A Pocket Full of Vintage. and she's the lady that makes the covers and shows you how to put the pockets in on the inside or the outside. So sorry about that, but a bit of a rabbit dropping trail there. But really like the books, and of course making one of these, that'll sit into there. So you have all your covers. I can only put my little one in. And if you put the pen tops opposite each other, when you slide your pencil down one, you can shut it. I made two, but if you cut them across, the idea is that you go into one and to the other, and then it keeps your book shut. But absolutely loved making that. In fact, I think I might have to take that out with me again. I haven't played with it for a bit. So any size for what you want to use it for, but I like to be a bit of a jumpy girl, and I like to kind of use what I've got. So I found this, the girls were throwing this out. Perfect, absolutely perfect, absolutely perfect. Even got the wide back. That's going to hold a lot of colour, and of course you can always add to it, or you can even do bigger squares. But that's absolutely perfect. So what you would do with that one is use the photocopy paper, long ways measure, and I would slide that into here, not the first page but the second. You can do it that way. Now if you did it up, you've got to flick up there. Depends how you want to use it and how many colours. The other way of doing it is if you cut all the way around here, you've got a plastic backing. Oh, I suppose the easiest way of doing it is just doing that. Look. Oh, shush, boy, shush. In fact, you don't need to do that. It's the idiot's test, you see. So this is the original little book. This is Sketchbook, Sea Life Sketchbook, £180. You can put that into here, and you can stick it at the back with tape. So you have to leave a little bit of a gap for your colours. I normally do the colour swatches on the inside because the sellotape you can see, and then you just need to put one page in there, or two, depending on how benevolent you feel, and then that's protected. So you've got colour on that side, your protection, colour on that side, and you can then put another one in there and another one in there. So again, that's fab. And I think one of these has got like a cover on it as well. So that's something else too. And it's still a nice size. It's still handy to take on holiday or in your bag if you're going colouring. I found this from Wilko's, and again, wasn't quite sure what to do with these, but the other things I got from Wilko's was the photo film CD cases. And now I want one, I can't see one. And they come in a pack of about 50, I think. This is some kind of sketchbook as well. That's another 140. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect for the book. Double-sided tape we need. I was looking for a photo poly. Find one. Again, Model Railway Show. I won a little thing. That would be perfect. It's sticky. It's sturdy. That would be perfect for a little book. If you wanted to make one size to take out and then one size to have at home, that would be lovely. If you were poorly, won it at the. I always support the local, at the shows. They always have little stalls to help. And somewhere there should be some. I can't find them. They're CD sleeves. That's what I'm trying to say when my mouth decides it wants to work. So they're CD sleeves. And the idea is, again, a couple of pounds. But if you were going to buy, I'm sure I've got some hidden somewhere, but a couple of pounds for the sleeves. And then what that would do, just because I want one, I can't find one. I can't find a sleeve, but I thought this would be quite good as well. So, but if you put the photo sleeve onto here, that would give you the protection, and then you can add to it or take out whatever you want. Make a little pocket here for pens, water brushes, and that's quite handy because it has its own little clasp. And again, it's a real nice, sturdy but flexible little pouch. I thought I'd buy this as well, because the nice thing about this is you can get your water brushes in. And again, these are stuck in, but they're not all to the top. So you'd have to put your plastic over the top of there. But I mean, you can use plastic packaging. You could even take that out if you wanted. And you could put your little water brushes in here, or your little sketchbook. So there's all sorts of things that you can buy for a few pounds if you don't have an old photo book. I found these at the model show and I bought these. Again, these lend themselves wonderful because they're a lovely size, and the top cover is very sturdy. And again, this is going back to what we were doing. I would do this one again, really easy. But you are wasting a piece of card, but you can put that one in that one, or you can put it over the top. I always like to leave the first page, but there's no reason why you can't do that. So that's your colour, that's your protection, and again, that's going to be, and because it's already built in to have a page of a photograph in each particular one, you've got naturally the expansion. So that's quite nice, and it lays flat as well. So these are really lovely. There's a black one there, but there's no reason why. The idea is just to have a play, put something in it first and see how it works for you. If you wanted to make it really easy, you could just slot that one into there and slot the next one into the next one. And they're not really going to go anywhere. Or you can cut them in half if you want to be cheap. And this is because it's sellotape, it's plastic. Sellotape lends itself really well. So you could stick that into here with sellotape and you will have your books. And if you make a little bit of a gap, so you put your sellotape that one to there and sellotape that one to there, this will flap quite nicely. And then you've got a really nice, quite smart book, colour palette. And I think these are, and of course they've got the corners on, so they are quite nice to hold, and they are, you know, that'd be quite nice to get out. When I used to take this one out, I used to cringe because it was a bit of an ugly thing. And it was rough and sellotapey, but it worked. But I really like, so again, I found this one, and I think I'm going to make this for me, because this one is 5 inches by 3 3/4. But I love the size. I love the size. I love the fact that it's just really nice. So I think I could probably make one like this for me. And again, that's going to last. It's not going to last forever, but you know, it's going to last. And I could just take that, and it is, as I say, slightly smaller. It's not quite a half, but it's not far away. But that again is a lovely size, and you can actually hold. I'd be able to hold that probably, maybe for a little while, or maybe not. Maybe not if I hold my hands in a position. But again, that's just quite nice to flick colour, and you're away. And the water brush. So I quite like that idea as well. And you can get a really diddy watercolour brush. But that's a nice size as well. So we need to have a look, especially when these actually ruin photographs now. They've proved that they ruin photographs. That it's quite nice to use things up. And the idea is recycle as well. These are all £1 each, to recycle things. So the idea is to get a nice book, photo album book that suits you. I mean, I must admit, I really like this one, I have to say, for £1.50, brand new, love it. And because the photographs go in this way, it makes it so much easier. So on every page, every other page, I have the photo paper, the photocopy paper, and then I have the sketchbook paper over the top, and that's what your colour goes on. Now you can make the squares, or you can just scribble squares on. So I hadn't quite decided how to do that. And again, about this size, £1, a couple of pounds. This is probably a bit thicker, but for a couple of pounds, any book you can make for under £5, I think it is not bad. So if I move the paintbrushes out of the way. So I've cut, this is my other little thing I was doing as well for colour. You can put the squares on, and of course you can make it as small, as big as you want, even if you just put colours on this. This would sit in my purse. I can't carry much around with me, so I have the mini Filofax, which I love, and so there is no reason why I can't put that in here. And again, just a bit of colour. If I wanted to do a little colour book, I could do that. So it's all to do with what's easiest for you and how you work. Because this works because it's personal to you. It's how you want to colour, it's what you want to colour, and it's what things you've got. So I'll just have a quick slurp of tea, and that's my watercolour practice. So I've destroyed one of these little Sea Life books because I thought that would lend itself to just sitting over the top, and then I don't have to do anything else then. That's given me 2 pages. All I have to do is to slide that into the cover, and it's made. It's deciding what size you want to do things. That's the main thing. It's deciding what you want to do. So what I thought I'd do this time is put in some of these black and white ones, I think, although I do have this full set. We got the Prismalo out, didn't we? We should have 12 of those. Can't find them. This is a bit of a mismatch, is this? So, sorry, dog alert. What I might do is just go into this drawer and get out, if I can get out, the graphitint. They start out quite neat. And I bought these because I thought these were waterproof. Did we just have a look? I don't think they are. Sorry, water soluble. So let me have a little play. Just put it away. I use this little one as a template because I won't be able to do a full page because my hands don't work particularly well, and if I do that I can't use my hands for the rest of the day. So basically what you're doing is you're taking a water based one. Now this is a practice, so I'll do it on the end here. So you very carefully, yeah, they look to be a little bit chalky because it's a charcoal, isn't it? But it will be protected. So that is there. Let's see what happens when we take a brush and touch the colour. It still works. It still works. It's in there. One thing I would do is probably, this is how I did the professional chalks. I've got I don't think I've got these in, but I can't use anything. But these are pastels, and the way I put the pastels in, they've even cracked because I've had them so long. I've never ever used them. My daughter did once, I think. So the idea is you open that up. Now this is how I put pastels and charcoal, anything that's because this is lovely pigment, and the little squares as well, the little anything that's chalky, anything that's a pastel. How I do it is I wet the page, just damp the page. So I wet the page. I wonder if you can see that that is wet. You see that's wet. You've got to be quick though. Wet it, and then little tiny circles. And what happens is you can feel the colour adhering to the damp. And so you want a little bit of that into there. You're not damaging the paintbrush or the pastel. I've done it with them all. And it's not brilliant, but it's colour. It's in there. If you've only got pastels, you can get them in. Let me see if I can get this one differently. Oh, maybe I wouldn't do it wet. Not with the pencil pastels. Again, a couple of layers. You can tell whether it's pencil or whether it's pastel. You can tell when it starts to sit on top that you're not going to get any more colour on there. The pastels, a couple of layers. When you're doing the derwent ink tints and the derwent pencils, it's normally about 3 layers. So again, just touch that and you've got colour. And if we go back, pop that back into there. Oh, that doesn't go in there, does it? So they work quite well actually. So let's have a look and see just how vibrant these are, because I've never done that with these. I've done it with other things. And I'd say it is chalky. If you rub that, you would rub colour off, but you're not going to rub it because it's protected by the plastic. So you can put your pastels in. Now, I hate to waste that, but there is a little bit of chalky deposit on top there. Throw that away, and you just see just how good this works. It's not perfect, but you know, you're making a palette for a few pens. But the thing is, the pastels are made up of probably more pigment than most other things. It is a pigment. They're very good, well pigmented, and the more the pigmented, it's the colour. That's what you've got. The binder, there isn't much of a binder in here. If that was watercolour, then you've got the is it a gum arabic that's the binder for watercolours. So I could get now all those gorgeous portrait set of colours into my little book. The colours are coming up, but they are gorgeous. And I've never used those. So that's another thing that I could put in my little book. And there are another 36 colours in. So there's 36, so that would take me over the 600, I think. And there are some beautiful colours. You know, some of these, especially in this book, I think this is going to be a bit of a mishmash. I'm going to make some backgrounds, I think, because after Inktober, I'm sure I'll be a little bit better. So I'm going to just continue. So it's a full page, I think, because I think this is wasted space. So I'll probably do a design that way. But for some really pastel colours, if you wanted some really nice pastel colours, they're in here. And again, I'm using things I've already got. I nagged for these, got them. Oops, not used them. Oopsie. So that's quite nice. And again, you know, if I do it properly so you can see it on a page. Let me see if I can find a page. Oops. And there's no reason in this book why you can't do a page of bright and a page of dark. You don't have to do every single thing. It's just, I quite like that work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play with this butterfly. So if I do, let's get some nice colours out. So we've got the yellow, and I haven't labelled them, so that's naughty, but this is just a practice. Because if you used all that and thought, oh, all those lovely, but that's used up, if you label it, you can think, right, well, I know what that one is. I can just scribble over the top of that while watching TV, go through the book, reconstitute them back into full colour again. And the paper palettes do stand up very well. I have to say I was very impressed. I thought they wouldn't. Which is why I did the individual squares. So what I want to do is to look for maybe that colour. And again, I'm just scribbling. But you can do these any size. But to have all this colour, you know, in a little pocket-sized Filofax, you can work as big or as small as you normally do. And again, I'll use a proper little brush and just touch that colour. It might not be as, no, it's just a bit of small brush, that really. What's that one? This is a traditional, ordinary, what I would call an ordinary brush. That's what you need. So you want some colour to do that, and then you've got your colour swatch. Oh, welcome to Bunny's Designs. So this is a live stream. I'm playing about putting colours into my little watercolour book. So this is the new one. This is a live stream for Ustream, and I haven't broken chat yet. And also recorded for YouTube for people to watch at leisure. So I've put some rather large drops of the Dr. Martens Hydrus, and I did label it. And then I've put the peerless in there. And the next thing I was trying is the pencils, all the pencil based. But I was just having a play with these derwent pastel pencils, which are gorgeous. But I can't hold a pencil for long and I can't use them. So the idea is I'm trying to just put these colours into here. Now they are rather pale, but let's have a look. And again, I'm not sure I could do this scribbling for long because I can't use a pencil or a pen, but I could get my children to do it, get my daughter to sit and do it while she's watching TV. And again, you touch the colour, and there's some really lovely, lovely, lovely colours, because these are portrait set, and they will work for any pastel. I did try to wet that one, but it's better if you don't. And I was just going to have a bit of a play and look at this one. So this is just a rough to find lots of different things already in my stash to put into my little book of watercolours, because then I'm not paying too much for things. I'm using recycled things. So again, it's just a rough, beautiful pale colours. And it's leaving the big tin at home, which I'm bound to drop, just even putting it behind me. So I was going to just have a very quick play here and colour a butterfly in with a damp brush. Maybe that's not a big enough brush. Really, really pastel colours. Probably have to do maybe a bit bigger squares for this particular, for pastels. But the idea that you've got your pastel colours in a travel water kit to play with and to use, I think is pretty nice. So let's see if you can see that. I'll just zoom down there. Oh, thanks Dorothy for joining me. Thank you everybody for joining me. That's brilliant. I love the fact that people just pop in and out. As I say, this is a live stream, but I'm recording it as well. So take care, Dorothy. Have a lovely afternoon. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Oh, says she. I've done something to the mouse. I broke the mouse today, so that's good. If I just do this a little bit, literally I am a hand away from the... So I do that a tiny bit, and then we can just... And this was the inspiration for my book. This gentleman called David Cook. And I've had this video for a long time. Sorry about the glare, I'm just trying to focus. Sorry about that. So this is pastel. These are pastel colours, derwent pastel pencils, and I'm just using a damp brush, reconstituting the colour. I normally work from the corner, but there's a bit of dirt there. And it's a very, very rough, but that is a lovely colour, a lovely pale lemon. Because sometimes I think you don't always want to be that bright. And that's given you 36 colours in a little book. Not bought any extra colours. I'm going to have to work from my little pot because my water pot's over there. And really love just stroking the colour in. That's just that little bit wet for me. I don't work that wet. I don't like to work too wet if I can help it. But if you wanted to do some beautiful pastel colours, your pencils are at home and you can take 36 pastel colours with you. And I think that's pretty amazing. And oops, I say I'm just conscious that if I take this water pot, I just might spill it because I'm terrible for spilling, but I'm spilling a tablespoon of water. And again, I like this because the rigger goes in it, and then I can, in fact, if I have a piece of paper, I can actually put it on here so that, and I have a damp baby wipe, and that's how damp you need it. Dunking, baby wipe, twisting off to a point, and then just touching the colour in the corner. Now, I've never done this before. I've used the pastels, the square pastels in little professional pastels. They're in my little book, but I've actually never used them. I was just discussing that earlier. I've never actually used them. So, again, it depends how much you want to put in there. Depends how big you work. Some of these things are quite small. So if you made, I mean, these are really tiny squares. These are quite tiny squares. But because it's a pastel, the pigments are wonderful in there. And again, this is just a play in this book, this first page. I always like to play. And now I've got the idea that I just want to do pastel colours into here. So it's strange how things evolve. I quite like the idea of doing all these magical forest, is it this one? Lends itself to that. Really like those very pale colours. So those pastels will be going into my book. And because I can't hold the pencils very well, so I'm just going to... And there's no way you could get this into there. I mean, look at the size of that. You can't do that. But what you can do, and you can also do this as well, you can just make a paper palette. You make a paper palette of the colour, and then you can throw it away if you want. If it's completely destroyed, you can just throw it away. Just thought I'd want another colour into there. And the pencils stay at home safe, because if you drop your pencils, you ruin the nib, the leads. So that's another reason to kind of keep them at bay. So, and if you label them, then you can just go instantly to that colour and reconstitute it. So I must admit, that's impressed me to put those in there now. And now I want to use pastel colours into this, which is another colour that I'm not using. I'm using different techniques and different colours, all water-based, but different colours for different different colour books. and that makes all your colour books different. So if I'm at home, see, I couldn't do this on the train because it's a bit too fiddly. So the other things I do on the train, things that, you know, if the train moves, I'm not going to damage it. It's not going to bother me. So I really like that. So now I have 36 colour pastels to label and to put into my little book. And I have been playing with my watercolours, but as I say, I want rid of them. So they're the colours for the watercolours that I was playing earlier with. But really like those pastels. And this is the Magical Jungle by Joanna Basford. Or Basford. So that's given me another idea for another colour book. So if I lift that up very carefully, and hopefully we're not too out of focus. So I've got my double-sided tape, and I've got a lot of pages. I've taken this little book apart so that I can get, and we said these did work, but they weren't brilliant, but they don't have the watermark on them. So I'm going through all my stash, and I'm looking for things that have, this is the Sketch and Wash one as well. But I've been going around looking for any pencils that has, oh, that's a charcoal one, that doesn't work. Water soluble written on it, aquarellable, or a paintbrush. And if it's got a paintbrush on it, it will go in this book. So again, make the colour square. And this is what normally happens with a pencil, is you can have a square. Now again, it's a bit time consuming, but doing it in front of the TV, it's fine. Now my hand's hurting at the moment, so I can't do this because I've done this many now, and I won't be able to use my hand for the rest of the day. So I'll just do one. So if you can see, you get about 3 or 4 layers. And that's why you don't want watercolour paper. You want the colour to sit on top. And the sketchbook, I find, has worked. It has taken me 4 years to get this to be perfect, but it works. I might just try this one. Yeah, my hand is really not liking this at all. The only other one I'll do is this one. But if you were out sketching and you wanted to do just a bit of a black line and wash sketch, this would be perfect. So this is the purple colour here. And I can use the back of this because it's going in a thing. The colours are really vibrant. And you can just test on a piece of photocopy paper. If you wanted to do a wash, black and white wash, and you can colour mix on a paper swatch as well if you want to. You can put 2 colours together and then mix those together, and that'll give you 100 more colours. The possibilities are endless. It depends how you work. So the Prismalo are in mine. They are here. I was going to show you the graphitint, but it's exactly the same thing. Scratch about 3 layers, and you can see where I've used it. So when one gets used more than others, I just scratch over the top. And I did make individual paper palettes, but I didn't need to because these have lasted quite a long time. These are the Prismalo. These are the Prismalo. And again, I haven't used them that much. I normally start at that little circle. Oh, I haven't done a colour swatch for these. And the Caran d'Ache colour 2s I haven't either. Some I've used more. But again, I'll use that red for a rose, and then I'll flick to Peerless for a green to do the leaf. And then I'll flick back and I'll use a purple to do a shade. And that's why I love the little book, is because if you had all these things out in front of you, you'd have to have at least 4 desks. You couldn't get 72 pencils out of your Derwent, 72 of those. And again, I love these. I have trouble picking the tin up, never mind doing anything else. They're in there as well. There's a suitcase, they're in there. There is a suitcase of colour, a large, heavy suitcase. I think somebody suggested when I went to derwent. These are the graphitints, and they are gorgeous. But no, I have difficulty getting the lid off those. And the beauty of them is you can share them because you're making paper palettes. I love these. The Gansai Tambi watercolours are gorgeous. Now all those I've used once out of the palette, and I've made one colour swatch, and they hardly look like they've been touched. I made a puddle of colour, scooped it out, and daubed it on the back. So we have fat puddles of colour. So this is my entire 36 Gansai Tambi watercolours. And these stay at home. And I do love this box, but I've dropped it twice and they fall out. And I would think temperature wise, the beauty of it is the Caran d'Ache nail colour 2s will melt, but they don't melt in here. I put greaseproof paper between, that's the only one I do. I think that's because, again, this is my original one that was quite messy. And instead of having the plastic sleeves, I used this because I was cheap Yorkshire lass. So I'm quite pleased I got the pastels in. Again, that's another thing. Pastel. I knew the pastels went in. Again, they're here. These are professional pastels. I have wet the thing first, and I don't know if that was a good idea. These are I think these are pastels as well. Again, I just stuck that in. These are the again, I must label this one. Faber-Castell little water acrylic sticks. They're in there. And then I found some Prismalo italics, and again they're in there because they work. Sorry, I'm not in frame, am I? So I might have a spot of bother putting those in, but the pastels then will go into this little book. So this is the new book that we're making. It says she. What's this? So again, the squares will just fit into there, not at that side because you need that paper palette for there. I'm working backwards for some reason. I don't know why I'm working backwards, but so if they were all the pastels, 36 pastels, I would stick that into there. And I've got the paper at the other side as well. And that's sellotape. So I can stick that with all its colours, all labelled and all with the colour swatch. And I would have a few more colours in here. And that's protected from this page. And the only thing is I just can't physically do this. So that's a little bit of a challenge for me. I can cut that one in half and then stick that one in there, can't I? So if I cut this in half, like so, I have 4 pages now, or 2 depending on how you're going to fit it in. You can either stick it in the middle and have a page at either side, it depends how tight you are, or because that's the back of the peerless, I can put that into there, and then so that means that I can stick that, put the colours onto here and then just stick it onto this photocopy paper, and then I'm ready for the next page. You can draw them out in pencil if you want. I was saying just having a bit of a play. I quite like the idea of putting these in there. So 3 6s are 36. No, 6 6s are 36. Yeah, 3 6s are 18. Yes, my brain's just definitely not with it. So I need 6 pages. And if I want to put 6 colours on, but I want to put 12, so I could have 3 pages to get all these derwent pastel pens. So I might do that actually. If I do that, it shows it's one, and I'll just stick it in with double-sided sticky tape. So I may just have to. Are we in focus? I may just have to see if we're in focus. And it's all this gentleman's fault. David Cook. In the I said 1980s. Oh, it says 1992. Okay, all right then. But I bought it for £1, and I'm going to use that as a thing actually, because it seems to just likes to focus on that apart from the glare. So just bear with me, and see if I can just focus into that little bit better, because I did move the camera. I'm going to Derwent. I'm going to hope that they might re-release this video, because it's just amazing. It's amazing. But have a look online. But I'm pretty sure he lives in America now. I'm sure I read that he did. But he did the scribbled squares on the back of his sketchbook. And then Jenny Belly made a little book. And then Peerless made the squares. And it kind of evolved into my potentially 6,000 colours. That's without colour mixing. There's just short of 600 colours, squares, and each has got about 10 shades. So, and that's with just a little brush and touching. Some I've used more. But the beauty of it is, if you label it, just take a bit of time, you label it, you can see what colours you can get by how much you touch the corners. I mean, they've all been touched, but you can only just tell that little bit there. These are the ink tents, which are amazing. And again, the pencils stay at home. Now, you couldn't do a huge 5 foot by 5 foot watercolour on these, but you know, for colouring in, for doing little sketches, for just having the colour with you, this is what it's designed for. It's designed that there's hardly any water, and people who can't hold things for a long time. See, I picked that up now and I can't hold it very well. That's what it's designed for. So you just flick, touch the colour, and you're away. And then you flick, touch the colour, and you're away. And because you have this in between, you can shut it wet. I use it at hospital and they shout your name and you just shut it wet. As long as that colour there is green, it's from that one. So there is colour there, but it's from this one because I've shut it wet. Now that's perfect. Now if I moved it, it would contaminate it. So if I wet that and it went down here, I'd have to wipe it away. But whenever I've got that there, and there's a tight Yorkshire lass, I will use that green first. Then I will wipe it and dry it, and then I can shut it. But potentially, these are all the pencils. These are the Derwent medium sketching pencils. And they are fab, absolutely fab. You know, you touch that, and I've picked the medium one. And you can do a wonderful pencil wash without touching any black at all. So enough twaffle. So let's see if we can get this in here. So we've worked out, and again it depends on size, it depends what you want. I think for my daughters for uni and for college, I'm going to make the, I've just found these. I knew I'd find them when I wasn't looking for them. So if we have, no, I can't find the other thing I had. But these will be brilliant. And you could even make one like this. I'm going to make a few for giveaways. You can push that into here. Oopsie. You can push the plastic sleeve into each other here, or just attach them, and then you will have your plastics. And then your colours will be, and then you've got the pocket to slide the photocopy paper in and attach your pockets. So you can make them out of anything. If you put that on a ring binder, the rings, if you doubled it and then strengthened it, you could possibly make, there's no end to how many colours you can get in, as long as it's strong enough. But it's a natural curve, so you're not doing too much damage to it. It wants to do that. You can make some pretty good stuff, and then you just need your sketchbook paper on top, and that's so thin. So I'll just have a quick slurp of cold sweet tea. Oh, I won't. It's empty. I'll just have a drop of water. And all the dogs are all asleep. Oh, 2 in the bed. That's probably what the grumbling was earlier. So I've taken one of these to pieces. So, yes, that's a grumpy. That's a grumpy. I was looking for the bit bigger size. I like the A5 size because it fits in your Hobonichi, and that's probably where I've put it. So if I find my Hobonichi, my fake Hobonichi, I'm going to make the girls this size because I think this is a better size for college, and you can get twice as many colours in. And these were three or 4 or 5 for £1. They're really cheap. And the idea is just to make things so you can just sit and colour. And I just like the fact you can doodle. And a lady called Pocketful of Vintage shows you how to make on YouTube this fab book cover in about 4 stages, and love that. Absolutely love it. And the lady called Sea Lemon on YouTube as well is how to do all the Copic stitching, because this is all hand stitched. But I love I found some very thin paper that's squared, and I also found some layout paper, which was the nearest to the expensive Japanese paper I could get. And it does bleed through if you're not careful, but it's not that bad. If you use the Inktense, it shows through. If you use the Derwent watercolour pencils, it doesn't. Neocolor 2s, they'll go through. But the pastels, they don't. They show through, but they don't bleed through. And this is my rotary ink pen, permanent Indian ink, and that doesn't go through, which is wonderful. So I just like to play, and keeps you occupied. So that's another nice thing. And I think there's just over 600 pages in there as well, which is not bad for about 1.5 inches. Again, it's because it's the thin paper. So back to our little book. So we have the Peerless, the Dr. Martens Hydrus in there, and then next to them we have the Peerless colours as well. And I did try this on photo paper, so where you would print your photographs. So the back one isn't going to be okay to scribble pencil on, but I've just cut one of those in half, haven't I now? So yes, so I've cut one of these in half, so that will sit onto there. Now I can either make the squares, but as I've proved before with this prototype, they last quite, they're holding up to quite a lot of water, because you don't work too wet, you don't need much, you work damp, and that's why the paper is lasting. Because obviously water and paper, it will wear away after a bit, but like we have here, you know, as long as you protect it a little bit. And this works because it is working damp. It's not working in the traditional watercolour. This is watercolouring using the damp brushes to activate the colour. But on the video, which I say I'm going to ask, see if Derwent will bring this out again. On the video, he makes washes with the pencils. He shows you so many techniques of using these pencils. Absolutely fab. So that's another thing I've got to try and get in. They haven't got back to me yet because they think I'm a crazy old woman. Probably right. Right, so enough chitter chatter. So that's what we've got that size. So we need, I did 6 colours in there. I don't know, it's just 6. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We did 12, and that's 3 pages. Ideally, you could have your colours opposite each other, and so you all the same product is opposite each other. But that's another kind of thing. So if I found a pencil, there should be a lot in front of me here. We need the ruler, and again, I'm not very precise because my hands don't work very well. Obviously, you can do this a lot neater. This is, oopsie, my water just about to flow on the floor. See if I've got a point on a pencil. That would be a miracle, wouldn't it? Oh, well, there's one. Right, so what we need, mind you, this is not, no, I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that because when I was doing my Inktober, I thought the ink wouldn't run, and it did, so I wasn't impressed with that either. So this is the best water brush I've found for dryness. You can work really dry with this water brush. The other ones are a little bit too wet for how I work. But if you're out and about, sometimes it's easier. Just let me see if this will work. I use the Rotring pen, just because my stuff, and there's no ink in that, so I could either put ink in it. But that looks a little bit big. Okay, I have this one, which should be working. I keep this in my handbag because I draw with it all the time. So we'll just pop this one back. And we'll just try that. Yes, it works every time. So because this is Indian ink, it's not going to run. That's important. So this is very roughly done. You can do it as neat as you want. Oopsie. That looks about right, but just recently I've acquired these from I'll get the word out in a minute. So is there a lip on there? There's a lip on this one. I've acquired these, aren't they awesome? I bought them on eBay. I was so excited, and I forgot about the bid, and I won, and I was like, ooh! And it keeps them off. That's not going to help me this time, but it might do. Absolutely love this. So if I just do this, I'm not sure how many I'm going to get, but you can do it so it's perfect. I'm just doing it as a rough. And the squares look a bit big actually, but I suppose it doesn't really matter, does it? And I can't see what I'm doing. So we need a colour swatch at one side, bit of a colour swatch at one side, and we need a name on the other side. Or we could put a name on top. So again, we put that one there. I think I've probably messed up, but here we go. I'm not very good at measuring, terrible at measuring, but so we've got 1, 2, 3. So we're going to have 1 or 2 of these, so that's okay. But you can measure it out with the exactness of your, if you wanted. Again, let's see, it's a bit small, is that one at that end, but we've got 3, 6, 9. We've got 12, so actually that works. So if we put 12 on, we've got 36, so we can have 3 pages. So it does dry quite fairly quickly, this. So welcome to Bunny's Designs. I'm putting more pages into my new little book. of watercolours. So I've got the new paper chase for £1.50, and I put the Peerless in last time, part 1, and this time I've put in the Hydras. I put these in because they're just cutting and sticking in. So we've got 3 pages of those, and then I've actually found that these pastels would go in here. They will go in the portrait one, so I can keep the pastels at home. Sorry, the pencils at home. I was going to do that, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to do the graphitint. I've changed my mind. I'm going to do the graphitint. So that now is going to be, because this is the back of a piece of photo paper where you print photographs off, because I just wanted to try it to see how it worked. I'm going to fold that over, and I'm going to stick that onto there. And so what we will have is some colour there. And I'll use the graphitint. I may only be able to do about 3 because then my hands hurt. You could do them in order. I'm not sure about the graphitint. I had them in order, but I think they've got kind of altered slightly. So it depends how pernickety you want to be. So we've got the whites, and then we've got pale greys. Let's see what I'm doing, sorry. So if you did it in this order, you'd be able to sort yourself out into kind of, I might just put that one there. And it goes to reds and blues. I tried to have some little bit of a semblance of order. I might just swap that one out. And darker, and that one there. And the 2 browns at that end. Oh no, the browns are there, aren't they? So I'll put those over there, I think. No, I'm making a mess now. Right, so that's a darker brown. So we need to go from pale to there, to there. It's just sometimes nicer to see them, and then when you're making the colour swatches, you don't have to mess about. So I think we'll have those there, and the blue, maybe the purple. It's 2 purples or mauves. There isn't a yellow. It's a bit of a strange mixture. There isn't a yellow. It is very, very obscure. The palest yellow is the green. But we'll see. But the colours are awesome. So, as I say, welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream for ustream.tv, and also for recording for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. And I'm making my little book of watercolours, and I'm inserting at the moment these graphitint from Derwent. A bit obsessed with the graphitint. The pigments are so fab that it works really well in this book, and the pencils will stay safe at home. So I've got the colour swatch here, and I've got my fine pen, and you can do the colour swatch at the same time, or you can do it at the end. Excuse me. My daughter had freshers flu, and she's giving it to everybody. It's jolly decent of her. So again, look at your book, look how you work, what colours. I'm going to start at this end because it's just easier for me. So all I'm going to do is I could actually use this here. So that could be the name. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to change that. I'm going to put the names at the top. And that's a bit too much there. But you can take your time. This is a very rough. Oopsie. I can't see what I'm doing because the camera's in the way. If you have any questions, pop them in caps. This is a live stream, as I say, for YouTube. Can't touch chat because I break it every time I look at it. So if you've got any questions, pop them in caps. And hopefully everybody will have a real good natter with each other while I'm waffling about my little colour book. I've done several videos on this, but I do find streaming, sorry about all the tinty tattle. So I'm going to use that as a colour swatch. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to have an odd number, but never mind. You can do it so you've got the right amount of colours. I might just only be able to do one. So what I'm going to do is just scribble. I'm just going to scribble. Into this square. This is quite a nice square. And then I'm going to scribble long ways across. That out of the way, you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. And I'm trying to stay in with the square, but it's not exact. You know, this is something made out of rubbish basically, and just a few sheets of paper. But I must admit, when you're out and about, so that's 2 ways, and then I'm going to go a third. I do 3, and as you can see, that's just about as much as it's going to take, because you don't want to be wasting it. You'll just be scratching it onto the top. So if I hold that up there, you can see that is saturated with colour. So what I do now is I turn that over first, and I call that aubergine, which I don't think you'll be able to. You might be able to see that aubergine. Just let me see if I can get a bit more in focus and you can see exactly what I'm doing. Just have a bit of a play for a second. Just put, where's my video? I'm using the video for the inspiration for the book, for the little book. Let me see if that will just pick that up a little bit. I think that's the best it's going to be. So I've made that little square, and I'm now going to label this, which I don't think you'll be able to see really, as aubergine. And it's 03. And then, because I just find it a little bit easier, just got some at the end of there. There's a bit of right, not to use that again because it's got wet ink on it now. Just to make that easier, I'm using just an ordinary brush. A damp brush, and then I'm just touching the corner here, and then I'm going to just go across, and I'm not going to stop, because then that's given me a nice colour swatch. It wasn't particularly brilliant. This oops, sorry, I keep knocking the camera because literally the camera is 3 inches away from my nose. So if I do that straight up to there, that's given me the aubergine and a colour swatch. And it is a little bit pinkier than that. It is an aubergine colour, so I'm just going to have a look and see what's happened to this. Make sure it's not. That's probably better. That's probably better. So it is an aubergine colour, just a hint of purple in there. So now that can go back in there, and that's done. So the next thing to do is to get the next one out. And I've got that dark indigo. And again, easier if you want to put a ruler at one side and scratch to it. It's probably easier to do this not in the book. I think I made the squares and then I put them together. The other way of doing it with the peerless especially is you make the colour squares, because you do that with the peerless, with those anyway. Right, so that's one way, and then we want another way. And these are very, 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 and you can see the second layer going over the top, so you don't miss any spaces. And then I just give 3 and do another layer. There's no point doing more than 3 because you can see it just sitting on top. And we're beginning to get the dust particles of the pigment, but that's given a really nice solid shade. And again, this is a job to do in front of the TV. So this is called dark indigo. Oh, do it. Sorry, I'll have to take this. Do it. Hello. Could you call back in a little while, please? What is it in connection with? For Samantha. Did you say Samantha or Amy? Oh, right. Well, I'm her mother, so you can't speak to her because she's 16. Sorry about that. It annoys me at the doctors when they say that. Sorry. Nobody's talking to my daughter privately, but that's how I know about it. It's about the kidneys. My mother died when she was 52 of kidney thing, and I've been fighting them for years because I have a wonderful letter that says that my 7 siblings all died. My mother died of it, and 2 of my babies died of it, and it's not genetic, and they all died of kidneys, deformed kidneys. So I don't have much faith in the system. Sorry about that. And I'm trying to arrange a thingy so they can have this kidney scanned because they're older now. Just in case they want to go out and have lots of drinks, they've got to be a bit careful. So again, sorry about that. Indigo in there. Off we go. That's dark indigo, and it's a really a sooty colour. It's like soot. It's like a warm soot. Is that the right word? It's a black, but it's a warm purpley black. It's very, very unusual. These colours are absolutely amazing. As I said, there's a picture here, look. I cannot do them justice. I'm going to have to just go offline because it's really important, this, but I shall be back in about 5 minutes, if that's okay.